Plumber office is located at 509 South Beeline Highway, and their number is 928-267-3411.
And thank you to One Time Plumber for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Good morning, Rim Country. Chris Higgins in the studio on this beautiful Monday morning. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Again, just more beautiful weather all week long in the 60s and sunny. So it is, again, beautiful in Rim Country. Well, this morning on our Community Spotlight program, we're going to be talking CASA with our CASA Coordinator Mariah Lantz. Good morning, Mariah.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning and for talking and sharing about CASA, everything CASA does, and some of the upcoming events that you have involving CASA,
Yes.
which some of them sound really fun, and it's cool. Also, talking a little bit about the different organizations that assist CASA or that works with CASA. But first, for those listening and watching, if they're not familiar with CASA, could you just explain the role of CASA?
Yeah, so CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. We're a group of volunteers who act as the voice and speak to the best interest of children that find themselves in foster care. So they've found themselves in an unfortunate situation where they've been neglected or abused. Something has happened beyond their control and they have to leave their home. And so we step in and we make sure that those kids have what they need to be successful and have as much normalcy until they can be reunified with their parents when it's safe.
So how long have you been working with CASA?
I've been with CASA now, actually next month will hit my 3 full years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what made you decide to go into CASA or to start working with CASA?
So prior to CASA, I actually worked for the Department of Child Safety.
Okay.
I enjoyed my time there. When this opportunity opened up, the whole reason I went into the Department of Child Safety was to help those kids and advocate for them, make sure they didn't get lost in the system. And so this is the perfect fit for that because that's all we do now.
Yes, and this is a Gila County program, or is it done by county or state?
It's a statewide program,
Okay.
and then every county has their own individual office, and we're kind of like a mini program, but then we have a state program who supports us, provides us with guidance, and provides us with some of our financial support to keep the programs going.
Gotcha. And a big part of the program are CASA volunteers, correct?
Yes, that is the main part of it. There's only 3 of us that are paid staff, and one of them is only a part-time CASA employee. So most of our time is spent helping our volunteers and supporting them and making sure that the program's moving forward.
And currently, how many CASA volunteers do you have?
We currently have 27 volunteers,
Okay.
and we got 1 brand new applicant over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah,
Now, is that 27 for Gila County or just northern Gila County?
that's all of Gila County.
Okay, great. And even though you have 27, which is incredible, that is awesome, you are looking for more volunteers, correct?
We are. We need 25 more adults to volunteer to be the voice for kids.
Wow. And with 25 more, basically what does that provide, or why are you looking for 25 more?
25 more adults would help us reach our goal. Our ultimate goal is to be able to have an advocate for every child or sibling group that finds themselves in foster care.
Okay, so now it is a case where if those volunteers, if they're willing to maybe take on 2 children or 2 cases that they are doing that,
Yes.
if they have the time, if they want to make that commitment and so on.
Correct. We don't force any cases onto any of our volunteers. They get to look at the cases that are open and need an advocate and figure out what works best for them and what feels like a good fit. So it could be 1 kid, it could be a sibling group. We do have a couple of volunteers who like to have 2 cases.
Okay, and approximately what is the time commitment? I guess first, what are the requirements, also training, and then time commitment?
Yeah, so the requirements are you just have to be 21 years or older and be able to pass our background check. We provide all of the training that is needed prior to your first case assignment. So that's 30 hours of CASA Academy. We are actually getting ready to do a question and answer session in the hope of getting enough people in Payson that want to do this and will commit to it, where we will have an in-person academy February 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Okay. So you said that you're doing a questionnaire, or you're, I guess, putting that out to the public, saying, hey, would you like to be a CASA volunteer, and trying to get applicants?
Yeah, so next Wednesday, December 4th, I'll be down at the Payson Public Library from 2 to 4. So if you want to come down, if you have questions about the CASA program that we don't answer today, maybe you have some very specific questions, or you're not sure it's a good fit for any reason, I'll be there to answer any of those questions. We'll have a couple of laptops, so if you want to apply for it after you talk to me, we'll be ready. If you want to go home and think about it, we'll send you home with the information, but we're just going to be set up to answer questions.
Wow, okay, great. And approximately, what is after the training, so it's 30 hours of training, what is on average the, say, weekly or monthly time commitment?
Our volunteers average about 10 to 15 hours a month, depending on what's going on in their case.
Okay, so that's not really a lot.
It is not.
No, okay.
And most of those hours are very flexible. One of the few things that is not flexible is what date and time we have court.
So the volunteers, they do have to be available most likely for court when there are the court cases?
Yes, they can go in person or virtually. We have
okay.
Zoom for every court hearing. That is an option that our judges have allowed for our volunteers to do. So even if you're working, if we set a hearing for 11:30 in the morning, you can take an early lunch and jump on that Zoom call, then you can still be there in the courtroom and make sure your voice is heard. We also understand that life happens, and sometimes you're not going to make it to everything 100%. And that's why there's myself and another coordinator, and we can help cover when you're not available as a volunteer.
Also, it sounds like if you're traveling as well. So if you're traveling, you have a trip scheduled, and a court case comes up, it's not like you have to cancel your trip. If you have access to a computer, to internet, then you can participate in the court case.
Yep, we had one volunteer who called from Mexico and joined his court hearing while he was on a cruise ship in Mexico.
Oh, really?
All you gotta have is a cell phone.
Wow. Hey, there you go. Again, if you're just joining us, we just started watching on our KRIM Radio Facebook live stream, talking with Mariah Lantz, the CASA Coordinator for CASA here in Payson. And you want to give again the date and time? That's next Wednesday?
Yeah, next Wednesday, December 4th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Payson Public Library.
Okay. And what are 2 to 4 p.m.? Great.
Yep.
And so looking again for volunteers, CASA volunteers, you have some other events that are coming up as well. And what are those?
We do. So we like to try and do some fun events throughout the year too. What we do on a volunteer basis is a lot, and so we try to do some fun things. And this month our fun thing is we have joined the gingerbread house decorating contest that the Swiss Village is putting on. So we will have a house entered in that this Friday. So if you get a chance, go out there, see all the amazing houses, and cast your vote.
Nice.
Fingers crossed that we get the most votes.
There you go.
We also have a couple of recruiting events, so if you can't make it on the 4th and you're available on a weekend, you can come see us and ask some questions. We will actually be in Tonneau Basin on Saturday, December 7th, out in front of Fancy Fox Soaps for her holiday fun event. Myself and Emily from Globe will be out there talking to everybody. And then we will be at the Town of Payson Winter Wonderland event on Saturday the 14th.
Oh, wow. That's right. December 14th. That should be a real fun day.
Yes.
Everything going on. Winter Wonderland. I believe that's when the ice rink opens up. Tree lighting ceremony. And I saw the Parks and Rec crew starting to put up the Christmas tree in Denham Park. They're right on the corner of McLean and Main Street. And then the electric light parade that night.
Yes, and I heard Santa Claus might be making a visit. We will have some Christmas lists and crayons out, so if the kids want to stop by and get ready for Santa Claus, I heard he might be stopping by that night.
You got a tip, huh?
I did.
Hey, there you go. So a lot of opportunities to get out and support CASA, but also to learn more about CASA.
Yes.
And maybe becoming a volunteer, or just what the CASA program, just more about the CASA program, and as you said, get your questions answered. What are some of the most frequently asked questions maybe that you get, or that people ask you?
One of the most frequent ones is a lot of people think they can't be a CASA volunteer because they don't have the room in their house, or maybe they don't think their house is safe enough. And as the advocate for the kids, they don't come to our houses.
Oh, okay.
We're actually not allowed to bring them to our houses.
Okay.
So that's not an issue. We meet them at the home where they are. So whether that's a foster home or with a grandparent or an aunt or uncle, if they're with mom and dad, wherever they are currently living, that's where we go and meet them.
Gotcha. So sometimes there might be confusion between CASA and foster care.
Correct.
Where, what you're describing, a child being at the house, staying at their house, would be more of like a foster care program, or maybe other programs that
Yes.
you get the child, you get to take them different places, maybe like a big brother, big sister type thing, but
Yeah.
that's not the case with
It
CASA.
is not. We do take them sometimes. Our volunteers sometimes might take them out to lunch or
Okay.
to the park, maybe to a museum. There's different opportunities around the whole state for the volunteers to do different activities with the kids. It helps them build that relationship so that way they can get to know the child and know what they actually need and what's best for them, so that when they are reporting to the judge, they have that full picture from the child.
Gotcha. Okay. What's maybe another question that you might get, or that somebody might ask you?
The other question we get a lot is, do you have to travel to Globe?
Mm.
And no, you do not have to travel
Okay.
to Globe. Our dependency courts, we have one in Globe and one in Payson, and that's where our hearings are held for the cases that we're assigned to. Even if the case belongs in the Globe court, we can attend it with Zoom,
Oh, okay.
so we don't have to travel for it.
That's nice. That's
Yes.
really nice, because it's not that bad of a drive, but it is. It takes time. It takes time. Also, depending on the time of year. So that's good to know. And this is a volunteer position, so if there is travel, or if something is required, is that just paid for by the volunteer, or how does that work?
So when there's travel involved, we do get some funding to help reimburse our volunteers.
Okay.
If that funding runs out, we have alternative supports that we use. We have some amazing organizations here in Northern Gila County that help out, support not only the children and the caregivers, but also our CASA volunteers. So they may help out with gas cards, or maybe, a gift card so they can take the CASA child out to eat, or library passes, or museum passes.
Mm-hmm. So the children, while they're being helped by CASA, is it a case where they're in a temporary foster home, or where would the child actually physically be while while the court case is happening and while everything is getting decided?
Majority of the time they are in a temporary home, like a foster home or a relative's home.
Oh, okay.
The goal is to help the family as a whole get to a safe, healthy place where they can all come back together. So even once the child returns home, our advocates stay with that child until the court closes the case completely.
Okay. And I know the goal with foster care, and I guess with Daniel and Morgan Butters and their organization, why they're trying and working hard to get more foster families in RIM country is so children can stay close to maybe other family members, friends, stay in their school, and so on, correct?
Correct, and unfortunately right now we are very limited on the number of foster families that we have available. So a lot of our kids from the Payson area end up down in Mesa and Santana and Phoenix area.
Gotcha.
I do know Northern Arizona Advocates, which is Daniel and Morgan Butters. They've been doing an amazing job on reaching out and bringing some providers back to RIM country to start getting those foster homes some more support and getting more foster families in the area.
Yeah, because so you work closely, it sounds like you do work closely with that organization and some other organizations. I know before we started the program, you mentioned one, I think New Beginnings, and you have a very close relationship with that organization as well?
Correct. New Beginnings has also been amazing. You know, a lot of times, unfortunately, when kids end up being removed from their home, it's not at, 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday when everybody's office is open. It's usually at nighttime or on a weekend. And so the whole team over at New Beginnings and the Nook Thrift Store have helped out with diapers and formula and clothes or cribs, whatever's needed when a child first gets placed in an emergency basis to make sure that it's safe and they have what they need to get started.
Yeah, because you just don't know what the circumstance is going to be, the age of the child, requirements, all of it.
Correct.
Yeah, wow. So anything else really to, I guess, with volunteers, because again, if you're listening or watching, a main part of this program, again, are the CASA volunteers. And it sounds like it's not a real long commitment, or as far as many hours, time consuming. If you said 10 to 15 a month, that's not a lot. What do you find people, that you talk to, are they concerned, some people concerned about getting it being too emotional or getting attached to children, or just with the situation, being able to deal with that?
Yeah, it can be difficult because they are kids, and kids have a spot in most people's hearts, and they really can melt your heart and hold on to that hard. It's something we talk about and we work a lot of in training prior to, is what those healthy boundaries are, so that we can make that connection without creating that really strong bond where we're relying on them and they're relying on us, because we're just meant to be there for a little while to support them when they're going through the toughest part of their life.
Yeah, that because that could make it actually harder, couldn't it, for a child if there was a very, very strong bond that was created, probably unintentionally. Somebody just wants to show a child they care, that there's someone that cares, that someone that loves them, so on, and supports them. But then if the child just hasn't had that in their lives and they're in a place where they really need that, then there could be a strong bond. So when there's that separation, then it makes that even harder, huh?
It can. Most of our volunteers, we work on how to help the child process with that. So a lot of times the kids will cling right at the very beginning, so we start working with the kids on understanding that just because I'm walking out that door today doesn't mean I'm not going to come back maybe tomorrow, and setting a time and giving them an exact date of when we're going to be back and keep coming back. That's one of the critical roles that we play in this child's life. Most of these kids who are in foster care will be through multiple homes, multiple schools, lots of counselors, different DCS workers, different teachers. Everything is constantly changing. They don't even get the same doctor year to year. But their CASA advocate sticks by them through all these changes. So it does show them that adults will stick around so that they can continue to trust us.
And approximately then, how long is, and I know they all are different, but approximately, or what's the range of a case? Like how long is a CASA advocate with a child?
Generally, it's about a year to 2 years.
Oh, okay. Wow. So it
Sometimes
is a while.
shorter. Yeah, it can be quite a while.
Wow, okay. And as you said, that CASA advocate stays with that child. So even if, say, the child is here in RIM country, but because there isn't enough foster support, then they're down in Mesa, they maintain that same CASA advocate regardless of where they go.
Correct. When the child's no longer in northern Gila County, we only require them to see the child in person once a quarter.
Okay.
And then the other times they can do phone calls and video chats. Some of the older kids have cell phones, so they'll text their CASAs.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Huh. And that's interesting. So it doesn't matter what county. It's not like there's that handoff to a CASA coordinator down in Maricopa County or somewhere else.
Correct. I will stick with you until the end of the case also.
Well, that's, that does make it better, I believe, for the child to have some consistency. Is it like that with any other programs, really, that you can think of?
No, even the attorneys don't always stick around from the beginning to the end of a case. A lot of times they'll move on to a different area of practice or, move out of the area. All of that can change. Obviously our judges can change because depending on who gets voted in.
Foster homes can change, so who the child or children are with. As you said, schools, doctors, all of it.
Yes. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of change.
It is a lot. It's a lot, and for our little kids, especially the ones that are, under the age of 10, that's a lot for them to deal with all at once, because when you have them move from one foster home to another, they lose their entire life every time, because they lose their friends and every connection they've made, and they have to start all over again. So having that advocate there to help them and to know there's at least one person I still know can mean a lot to them.
So again, if you are interested or are thinking about being a CASA advocate and you would like more information, again, next Wednesday, December 4th, Mariah will be at the Payson Public Library from, is it 10 to, or 2 to 4?
2 to 4.
2 to 4, from 2 to 4 p.m. If somebody can't make it out at that time, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
You can call me at the office. My number is 928-474-7145. Or you can visit our website, www.casaofgilacounty.org.
All right, I'm going to pull that up right now because I think I've looked at this before. Here, court-appointed special advocates, CASA. And has information about how to get in touch, also Facebook, Instagram, Twitter pages. And where, again, the other events? If you could just mention those other events or places that you will be, or events that you'll be involved in.
Yeah, so we will have our gingerbread house at the contest on Friday, November 29th at the Swiss Village Lighting. We'll be at Fancy Fox Soaps Holiday Fun Event.
It's a lot, yeah.
That is a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Saturday, December 7th from 9 to 2, and then we'll be at the Town of Payson Winter Wonderland event. That's Saturday, December 14th. We'll be there about 1 o'clock until whenever the crowd dies down.
There we go. And looking on that website, a lot of information. Also, application is right online. So you can apply online as well, and that's azcourts.gov/CASA Gila County, the website, and training information, news and events, all of it is right there on the website. So again, if this is something that you were interested in, it would be great to contact Mariah or just go on the website. Also, I think you've had people recently that have been CASA advocates in other states or wherever they move from.
Correct.
And then they move here and they would like to continue as well, right?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, which is great. I'm sure that is nice when you see that.
It is, because it's great to know that you can bring that information and training that you have from another state here. We learn a lot from them, from the different ways that they approach things and how their programs work. And it gives us ideas on how to make our program just that much better.
No, that sounds good. Well, again, if you want to get in touch with Mariah, can you give your number one more time?
Sure, 928-474-7145.
All right, and anything else that you have for today that you wanted to talk about or discuss?
That's it. We just need 25 people who really want to be those eyes and ears for the court and be the voice for the child and make sure they don't get lost in this system.
Well, thank you so much, Mariah. Thank you for everything you do for the children here in Gila County and all of the advocates as well. It is great that, there's 27 people that are CASA advocates, and hopefully you can get those 25, real soon.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
Hey, you're so welcome. Well, thank you everyone for listening and watching today. Hope you have a great Monday. Time to get back to the music here on KRIM with some Queen, Scorpions, Neil Young, and more. But first, we're going to get a quick update from the National Weather Service. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. You are welcome. All right.